Welcome to Debt or Dollars, where we tackle the post-graduation money dilemma head-on. First, we will set the stage. If you're carrying high-interest student loans, choosing between investing and rapid debt elimination can define your long-term wealth. In this video, we will walk through the math behind 7 to 9% interest, a practical priority checklist, and actionable steps so you can move from stress to strategy. Here is our roadmap so you can follow along with confidence. First, we will demystify why 7 to 9% interest changes everything. Next, we will build a step-by-step priority checklist for new professionals. Then, we will cover emergency fund essentials so you never sabotage your stability. After that, we will compare debt payoff versus early investing and share decision triggers. We will reinforce your learning with 2 quick quizzes. And finally, we will wrap up with a crisp action plan you can implement immediately. Before we dive in, an important disclaimer. Everything you hear today is educational in nature and not individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. Because your circumstances, risk tolerance, student loan terms, and tax status are unique, you should consult a licensed professional before making big financial decisions. With that foundation, let's move forward. Now let's tackle the 7 to 9% conundrum. With high-interest loans, the interest is a guaranteed cost. In other words, every dollar you do not pay down is effectively earning a negative return equal to the interest rate. By contrast, most investment returns are uncertain and subject to volatility and taxation. Consequently, if your loans are at 7 to 9%, paying them down produces a risk-free return equal to the rate you avoid, which most stable investments cannot reliably beat after taxes and fees. Therefore, prioritizing repayment on high-rate debt is mathematically compelling. Let's make the case explicit. First, the return from paying down an 8% loan is guaranteed because you eliminate the 8% interest cost. Second, investments carry volatility. Markets can underperform for extended periods, while your interest continues compounding. Third, even robust investment returns lose power after taxes and possible advisory fees, reducing your net outcome. Fourth, if markets drop early in your investing journey, the sequence of returns risk can derail progress, while interest accrues relentlessly. As a practical rule of thumb, if your loan rate is at or above about 6 to 7%, prioritize fast payoff once your safety net is in place. In short, this is not just about peace of mind. It is a mathematically sound strategy. Here is your step-by-step plan. First, build a cash cushion covering 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Park it in a high-yield savings account to keep it safe and accessible. Next, contribute enough to your workplace retirement plan to capture the complete employer match, because that match is an immediate and substantial return. Then, channel all remaining surplus into your high-interest loans above 6 to 7%, accelerating principal reduction. After those expensive loans are under control, turn to tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs and HSAs to boost long-term efficiency. Finally, once you have completed these steps, invest in taxable broad market index funds to expand your wealth. This mind map places the postgraduate money plan at the center and branches to 6 domains. The emergency fund branch covers the size target of 3 to 6 months, the location in high-yield savings, and automating transfers. The employer match branch emphasizes contributing at least enough to receive the full match and being aware of vesting schedules. The attack high-interest debt branch highlights focusing on loans above 7% using an avalanche approach and making extra principal payments. The tax advantage branch calls out IRA and HSA contributions and respecting annual limits. The taxable investing branch points to broad index funds with low fees and a long time horizon. Finally, the safeguards branch includes relocation and licensing costs and maintaining a buffer during job transitions. Together, the map shows how each component supports financial stability and growth. Next, let's go deeper on the emergency fund. Aim to hold 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. Store those dollars in a high-yield savings or insured money market account for safety and quick access. To ensure progress, automate contributions by splitting your direct deposit so a fixed amount goes straight to savings. Use this fund strictly for genuine emergencies, such as job loss, health events, or critical car or home repairs. If you do need to tap it, replenish it as soon as possible to restore your safety net. This buffer prevents you from turning to high-interest debt when life happens. Now let's compare 2 common paths. On the left, The debt avalanche method means paying minimums on all loans and directing every extra dollar to the highest interest loan first. This produces a guaranteed yield equal to the eliminated APR, accelerates interest savings, and reduces risk with clearer payoff timelines. On the right, early taxable investing involves putting surpluses into index funds while still carrying high-rate loans. Although market returns can be attractive, they are not guaranteed and are often taxable. There is also a real risk of poor early returns while interest continues to compound. Therefore, early taxable investing is best reserved for when expensive debt is finished, or very low, unless you have a unique circumstance like imminent loan forgiveness. This table offers practical triggers. If your loan APR is 7% or higher, prioritize aggressive payoff once your emergency fund is in place and you have captured the employer match. When a match exists, contribute enough to receive it first because it is an immediate, high percentage return. If you lack an emergency fund, pause extra payments until you build 3 to 6 months of expenses, which prevents taking on new high-interest debt when emergencies strike. If you are eligible for loan forgiveness, analyze requirements and timelines before committing to aggressive payoff, since guaranteed forgiveness can change the optimal order. Finally, if all your loans are 5% or less, consider maximizing tax-advantaged accounts earlier, because the relative cost of debt is lower compared to expected long-term market returns. Quiz time. Which ordering best balances safety and growth when carrying 7 to 9% loans? Option A. Invest heavily in taxable index funds, then build an emergency fund, then think about loans. Option B. Build 3 to 6 months emergency fund, capture the employer match, then aggressively pay loans above 6 to 7%. Option C. Skip the employer match to pay loans faster. Option D. Max out all tax-advantaged accounts before any loan over 7%. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, capture the employer match, and then aggressively pay loans above 6 to 7%. This sequence protects your cash flow, collects immediate free returns, and then locks in a guaranteed high yield by avoiding expensive interest before expanding into broader investing. Let's dispel a common myth that aggressive payoff is harmful. Some advisors emphasize fully maximizing tax-advantaged accounts before addressing expensive debt, while others tailor plans for borrowers pursuing forgiveness programs. Those approaches can be appropriate in specific cases. However, if you are not on a guaranteed forgiveness path, carrying 7 to 9% loans for longer usually means paying dramatically more interest. The practical sequence remains: build your emergency fund, capture the employer match, aggressively attack high-rate loans, then move on to tax-advantaged accounts, and, finally, taxable investing. Consider a simple case. You have $20,000 at 8% APR and a $500 monthly surplus. If you choose aggressive payoff, you direct the $500 to the loan and effectively earn a risk-free 8% by avoiding interest. If you invest first, you contribute $500 per month into an index fund, with an expected return of about 7% before taxes and volatility. To beat the risk-free 8% consistently, you would need a higher after-tax, after-volatility return, which is especially unlikely early in your career when sequence risk is significant. Therefore, unless you have guaranteed forgiveness, aggressively paying the high-rate loan is typically the superior choice until the rate is considerably lower. Here is your condensed action plan. First, build your emergency fund so that you can withstand surprises. Second, capture the full employer match for immediate, high-percentage returns. Third, aggressively pay loans above 6 to 7% for a guaranteed yield by avoiding interest. Fourth, once expensive debt is gone or under control, maximize contributions to tax-advantaged accounts for long-term efficiency. Fifth, expand into low-cost, diversified index funds in a taxable account to accelerate growth, reviewing your plan annually. Here is a second quick quiz. You have an 8% loan, a 3-month emergency fund, and an employer 401k match. What is the next best move for your surplus cash? No. Option A, max out a taxable brokerage to chase returns. Option B, increase 401k contributions beyond the match while ignoring the 8% loan. Option C, direct surplus to the 8% loan while continuing to get the full match. Option D, hold all surpluses cash indefinitely. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to direct surplus to the 8% loan while continuing to capture the full employer match. This approach preserves the immediate return from the match and simultaneously locks in a risk-free return by eliminating high-cost debt. It balances growth with guaranteed savings. To wrap up, remember that 7 to 9% debt functions as a guaranteed negative return on your money. After building your emergency fund and capturing the employer match, attacking those high-rate loans produces a reliable, high yield by avoiding interest. From there, maximize tax-advantaged accounts and only then expand into taxable investing. Deviations may make sense if you have guaranteed forgiveness or unusually low rates. Finally, revisit your plan annually and make adjustments as your life and career evolve. Thank you for watching. If this video helped clarify your next steps, please like the video, share it with a friend who is wrestling with loans, and subscribe for more smart money moves. I would love to hear your plan in the comments. Are you focused on debt attack, investing, or a blend? Your insights can help others in the same situation.